I feel that I should say something about the Netflix movie, which was directed by the guy who directed the show Mr. Robot, which I know some people like. I never really got into it myself, but whatever. Can't remember his name. And I had people recommend it to me as well. But once there was just an egregious amount of gay sex in this show, I kind of opted out. But I don't have any final word on Mr. Robot, the show. I mean, it might have some good things to say. It might have some insight to offer. It might not be co-opted. It might be part of the, something in the where you've got somebody in the field of entertainment who's actually out to tell truth as opposed to propagandize or to only show the part of the truth that they want you to see. In other words, perform the role of controlled opposition. And again, I hate to just think about art and entertainment in those terms, because it cannot be reduced to those things, and to reduce it to those things, to ask, is this just propaganda or not? I mean, once that becomes an all-consuming passion on the part of the connoisseur of art, then you cease to be an art appreciator, and you just get sucked into the I don't know, the dreary politics of the smelly little orthodoxies of the day. So I don't venture into that territory very often. But this particular movie, which, I guess it got a brief theatrical run, but it's mainly on Netflix, and it's like has gotten this. It seems to have a gigantic budget. I mean, they've got A-list stars, from Julia Roberts to Ethan Hawke, Kevin Bacon. I guess these are all sort of oldsters. People who are even older than me, but they're still. I would say at least they're at least maybe A-minus sorts of people. And a fairly large budget as far as like special effects. The special effects aren't fantastic, I wouldn't say, but they're all right. Anyway, you can tell that money has been spent on this film, and what I was immediately thinking, what is it that they're trying to, what are they trying to get us to think and feel by showing us this movie, by making this movie the way that they've made it, and what conclusions do they want us to reach? Where do they want to steer us with this movie? Because I know not everything on Netflix is compromised. Case in point, David Fincher's new movie, The Killer, I don't think is compromised at all. I think he's a lot. He, as far as I can tell, he's a directorial visionary who is allowed to simply do his autorial, perform his autorial magic, and I'm a big fan of The Killer. And there are other shows and movies on Netflix that are quite worthwhile. This, however, has the stink of propaganda to it, but they're smart enough not to make it like. And I guess you can't do this. You can't really. It's not the 50s anymore. People are more cynical. People are less credulous. I'm not saying people are smarter now. I'm just saying, in the 50s you could get away with stuff that today would just seem corny. You could get away with, my mother was in the KGB or whatever, the kind of um, military industrial complex, CIA, obviously influenced propaganda films of that era, or of the era before, the World War II era as well. Let us not forget the Why We Fight series, Frank Capra. But that stuff was pretty direct, straight ahead. Here's the good guys, here's the bad guys, and I think they know they can't do that kind of appeal anymore. They can't make things that simplistic anymore. But they still want to propagandize us. They still want to nudge us. That infernal word nudge, that insidious concept of nudging, because it's like they're trying. They're it's something that the controllers say when they're pretending not to be controllers. When they're pretending to say, "Hey, the choice is up to you," but if I were you, there's a lot of things that would be. You'd be well advised to go down this route instead of that route, and that's all we're saying. It's up to you, but that's the nudge philosophy of propaganda. So, what do we see in this movie? Leave the world behind, or leaving the world behind. Different things come to one's attention. There's little things. There's the ever-present race stuff. Of course, they have to throw that in. And by the way, Obama was an advisor on the script of this movie. That's something they're not even hiding. That's something that the director even talked about. I don't know why you want to come out and say that. That automatically, makes you suspect in a lot of people's eyes. Of course, in a lot of other people's eyes, it makes you golden. But it shows that you're not just coming at this, as a free-thinking auteur. That you're getting advice from a former president about a movie which features some kind of cyber attack event which leads the country into chaos. That's a mild spoiler, but there will be spoilers here. I don't feel any compunction about giving things away, because I don't think this movie is worth seeing with spoiler free. You can see it if you want. I wish some people would see it and tell me what they think. If you've got 2 hours plus to spare, it's kind of long. It's not terrible. It's not like it's not sheer drudgery to watch. But okay, so there's race stuff. You got a white family that rents a house out, a nice beach house, and then late at night, there's a black guy and his daughter is like a black guy in his 40s or so, and his 20-year-old daughter come to the door and say, he says, "Oh, this is my house actually," and there's lots of chaos in the city right now. There are blackouts and things are looking kind of messy in the city. Nobody really knows what's going on. So would you please let us in? And Julia Roberts' character is like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure you're the owner of this house," and she's all Karenish towards him, and and it's unstated why, the reason why, you know, but it's obvious that it's meant to be a racial thing. So we have and of course there's that going on, and then like so the black the black guy and his daughter are resentful of this Karen being racist against them, and then you also have the feature of Ethan Hawke, who just seems like, I don't know why. I know he's capable of playing characters who have menace, and I know he was once capable of playing characters who had testicles. But in this movie, I don't know if as he's getting older, he's becoming more and more feminized, or what. In this movie, he's just this uh, like kind of go along to get along, beta male. His wife bosses him around. I mean, it starts with him waking up, and his wife has decided to rent this rental home, or because they need to get away, and she's made up her mind all on her own that this is what they're going to do. Instead of saying, "Wait a minute, I don't want to," putting up some kind of, like, you shouldn't have done that. This is, you shouldn't plan for the whole family. That's rather presumptuous of you, honey. Instead, he's just like, "Oh yeah, well, I'm always up for a vacay." He's the kind of dad who's the kind of annoying middle-aged man who says words like vacay, uh, and wears trendy punk T-shirts from the '90s, like Bikini Kill. He's sort of like the billionaire character in The Killer, and Fincher's The Killer, who shows up wearing a Sub Pop T-shirt. Like this is a guy uh, nearing 60, and he's still trying to be cool, and like remember his glory days, listening to grunge and stuff. But anyway, so you got the weak white male, you got the racial tension, um, and I mean that's just the stuff between the characters, and then like you also have these requisite scenes. Well, I mean, I'm skipping over a lot of stuff. There's things I should have begged for your indulgence earlier, because this is another kind of primal scream of a video, or just me fumbling towards what I have to say here. But anyway, I think you know what you're in for when you tune into my videos. So let's just keep going with it here. So they've endured a lot. There's obviously some kind of terrorist attack. There's some kind of cyber attack that's made it so that nothing's on the radio. You can't pick up any radio stations. You can't pick up any television stations. The internet's down. Phones can't be used, and so there's bad stuff happening. And they see and hear and experience some things that are quite traumatizing, and so they're stuck in this house together. These two families, um, one fragment of a family, because the black family, yes, of course, and of course I should say that the black guy is the smartest and the most capable, and the most uh, uh, has the greatest intellectual acuity, and he's deeply gracious. He's like Obama, as liberals see Obama. That's what this black character is, except sexier, because like I was about to say, there's a scene where he and Julia Roberts flirt, uh, and like dance together. It's this cringe scene, like, because they've been through a lot. It looks like the world is ending, so they pair off, and like the nubile 20-year-old, like light skinned um, black girl goes and flirts with Ethan Hawke's character, and so they're talking by the pool, and she's saying things to him like, "Well, I bet things can't. You look like the kind of guy things come easy to, especially women." And he says, "Well, thank you. I take that as a compliment." Yeah, that's the caliber of dialogue you got here. And then you have at the same time, while that's happening at the pool, you have the 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 very, very smart, very, very articulate, deeply gracious black man flirting with Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke's wife, uh, and them almost almost winding up in a carnal tangling, but they stop at the last moment because the noble black man's and by the way, he's got some high position. It's not clear what he does, but he's got some high position that pays very well, and so he attends the he attends the orchestra uh, when he's in town, and he's just a very erudite and highly successful man. Um, and the White family is living in Brooklyn. You know, they're like a much more humble. Uh, they're living a much more humble life. So, of course, but that doesn't stop the daughter, of course, from being just as, like having this typical sort of snotty Zoomer, anti-white take on things. Of course, so anyway, uh, you know, so far, strong black man, weak white man, flirtation, like interracial flirtation between people who are married. The black guy's wife is off somewhere, uh, and her safety is feared for because she's out there in the chaos, and she's supposed to be flying, and flights are crashing and stuff because of I don't know exactly, because of the cyber attack, because everything has been thrown out of whack somehow for some reason. So all of these elements are there. You've also got the characters of the two kids in the family. There's the 16-year-old boy who's just a horn dog, and takes pictures of the black girl, in her bikini, and masturbates to those pictures that he takes of her with his phone. So he's a horn dog. He's a perv. He's got no shame. So not a very not a very kind portrayal of the male white male American teenager. The only really likable, sympathetic character is the daughter of the white family. I mean, the 12, 13-year-old daughter. And she's the one who has this of course, this preternatural way of communing with animals. She sees this whole pack of deer in the backyard and stares at them, and they stare back, and it's like they're trying to tell us something. And there's the little girl with, I mean, she's not that little, but she's just on the cusp of adolescence, and she's someone who seems to be who just wants to get away and have her innocent pleasures, and in this world where everything is crumbling to pieces. Now, as far as what's actually going on, well, what we find out ultimately is that there's been some kind of attack from somewhere, and the black guy who's, like I said, the smart, he's dwelt in these high echelons of power. He's hung out with Pentagon men and defense contractors and whatnot. So he's got some insight into what's happening, and he knows what's happening in the market. So, he's the man you turn to for information, of course. He's not a dingbat aging hippie like the white man is. But so what he ends up saying is that a threefold plan is in place, that some unknown entity, it's never said for sure who it is. We also have Kevin Bacon as the requisite survivalist who doesn't want to give any of his stuff away, even though when there's a sick a kid who needs some medicine, he'll be okay. He takes out his shotgun and says, get away from my house, and he just sort of has to be they have to beg him. The the Ethan Hawke beta male has to basically beg for Bacon to have some mercy and give his son the medicine so that he can be cured, because he was exposed to. They've all been exposed to what seems to be an EMP attack, where there's some loud something like what supposedly happened in Cuba, where there's this pulse that breaks all the windows and makes you have to cover your ears, and it's just and he's the one most affected by it, and so anyway, that's just another point. But anyway, so this was a cyber attack that was meant to essentially set America against itself. That they're going to take down the grid and cause chaos, and then watch America just turn on each other, and then take it from there. And they've dropped leaflets in different places. Some of them are leaflets in Arabic, and some of them have been found to be in what looked like Korean or Mandarin. So it's not clear who actually is behind these attacks, or maybe it's more than one foreign power. They're too clever to say it's the Russians. They don't say directly it must be the Russians, but that's meant to be what you suspect. I'll just say that. That's ultimately meant to be what you are supposed to be led to think. So, of course, evil Putin, evil Russians, they're going to attack us. This is like the Tom Clancy novel, the movie version of the Tom Clancy novel from 2014, which I remember I reviewed way back when. It features a Russian 9/11 attack on the United States, and this was before any of the stuff went down in Ukraine. This was before the Maidan stuff. This was before Zelensky, and this is way before the Russian invasion of 2022. They were already gearing us up for this anti-Russia stuff. And this movie, like I said, is cleverer about it, but it just sort of by process of elimination, it's like, okay, well, they're trying to spread the notion that it's the Chinese or maybe North Korea. They're trying to spread the idea that maybe it's Iran or some Arabic country, but who's not represented in all of that? The Russians. So it's the Russians who are attacking us. So there you go. That's what, and it ends on a note of uncertainty, but we're supposed to think that basically it's the end of America, and things are just completely falling to pieces. So that's the propaganda film that they're showing us now on Netflix. Have any of y'all seen it? If you have seen it, what do you think? Let me know if I'm wrong about anything. Interested to hear what anybody has to say. Thanks.